This session is for the BSPA students or the BSP astrologers. So may I now request Mrs. Harini Prahlad to do the prayer.
Yes, Guruji. Om Gajananam Bhuta Ganadi Sevitam Kapita Jambu Falasara Bhakshanam Umasutam Shoka Vinashakaranam Namami Vigneshwara Pada Pankajam. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiya Mamritat Adityaya Somaya Mangalaya Budaya Cha Guru Shukra Shanibhyascha Rahave Ketave Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Thank you. So in this, the first mantra, the word Bhakshanam or Bhakshitam, which is more popular?
Both have the same meaning. Only one is direct speech, another one is indirect speech. No much difference, Guruji.
Oh, not okay, not much. Because one student had raised his opinion about it. So okay. So let's get started. This is not going to be one session. This will be many sessions because it is one of the most complicated topic. Okay, before getting into the actual combinations and rules, can we try to attempt each one of you give some points on why is it so complex in the first place? What may be the logic behind the complexity of this? I mean, general views, specific ideas, anything goes. Okay. So raise your hand and like our booking, just raise your hand one by one. You get started. You may take maybe, if you want, maximum can take 3 minutes. And since this is going to be a series of sessions on this topic of longevity. And before that, many people pronounce it longevity and so on. So I hope the way to pronounce it is only longevity. Okay. Is it correct? Or is it longevity?
No, longevity is correct.
Longevity is correct, yeah.
So many times I've heard longevity, so I get confused.
No, there's no T there.
Okay. So what is the complexity? So Sai Prahlad has raised his hand. Let's see. And if you have other points than what Sai Prahlad is going to say, you can continue with your own views. But if your view is the same as him, let's skip it and proceed to the next person. Thank you.
Okay, so we can start with like some basic examples. Rahu Ketu in 2-8 axis. And we know that Sage Bhrigu says certain things like age of 32, 45, and 60. But then we know charts where people have lived longer. And in some charts, the reason being maybe there is a benefic aspect or maybe there is something else. So that is one way the complexity changes. You can't take it from face value. And then there's another way where you can look at Ashtaka Varga, calculation-based longevity. And that also, it doesn't always tally up. And then another way of looking at it, usually for longevity, what I do is I look at the 159 planets, 159 houses and the lordship of them. And then if they are good and if there's no other serious combination, then I feel longevity is good. Now, we have also seen charts where somebody would have like a Panchamahapurusha Yoga, and we know that Panchamahapurusha Yoga usually gives like 75 years. But then the person might have had a shorter life. So what went wrong there? it's very complex. And even the calculation wise, there are different dashas for longevity. I've heard, though I don't know much, there are many dashas they say that you can use for longevity. And then you also have this Maraka dashas from the Vimshotri dasha that we take from the Janma Vimshotri dasha from the moon. Like when you're going through the second house dasha, the seventh house dasha, that's also sometimes it indicates the death. Also, sometimes when we look at this, you should also look from the dashanath, and that might also in some charts, along with connection with 2-8 or a very malefic graha like Saturn, we have seen sometimes that give death, but sometimes nothing happens. So. And we have to be able to like identify what the longevity is, because sometimes when people come and give you the chart, we don't know whether the person is alive or dead. So some clients may not exactly say it. And good example, I don't have my sister's chart, my cousin sister's chart, but she died at the age of 23 something. She had blood cancer, most probably something wrong with the 8th house. And she also lived in a house which is what is that called? Bad vastu. What is it called? A T-junction.
T-junction. Okay.
Yeah. So they lived in a T-junction house, and she had blood cancer and she passed away. So I know the mother has went to astrologers and she would give the chart and ask the astrologers to predict what happened. Some said she will live past. Some said something will happen. She will go through this, and some astrologers would say positive, but then she would already be gone. Only one astrologer actually looked at the chart and immediately he said this person should not be alive anymore. And then immediately he walked out after saying it when she agreed, and then he went and took a bath and came back. So I think, some people, they don't like to go into longevity because it gets personal, they get scared. But if we want to be professionals, we have to understand these things. We cannot avoid this topic. We can't just ignore and say, no, that's too complex. I'll get scared. And I know one more thing is that some traditional astrologers, maybe from Sanjay Rath's side, one of the students have mentioned that the first thing that they do is they have to calculate their own longevity. But I don't know how they do it, but that's what they say. That is the first step if you want to graduate there. So longevity is the main topic. So what will happen if, for example, if 2-8 axis or if Jupiter is in the 8th house, what will be the result? And we also know that sometimes Saturn being in the 8th house Brihu will say 75 years, and then we see that they have not lived past. So this is the complexity that I am aware of.
Very good, very good. You have covered most of the interesting points when it comes to the calculations of the lifespan. And anything else you think could be added? V.K. Varman wants to say something.
Guruji, the reason I think that longevity, calculation of longevity is a complex and topic is Parashara himself at the end of each Maraka Dasa gives an option, do this savana and do this remedy. So which means even if it is a Maraka, there is always an option that it could be extended. And I'm presuming it is that 5% he reserves it that maybe it is upon the karma or the God's willing that that thing should be extended. So which means that there is always an option. It could end or it could not, and that cannot be decided by the astrologer, but the Almighty is what I feel. So otherwise, why would Parashara, give at end of each marka or whatever it is? So I don't think he said definitely this will bring death in this dasa or something like that. I don't think he has mentioned it. So I'll have to.
But at the same time, we have also noticed that when the death does happen, it is always connected to the Maraka periods. It's mostly connected. So the frequency that the condition gets satisfied is very high. So it is not, it's not like almost, it's like saying, if it happens at that particular point in time. And so there is some amount of certainty in it, because I have missed, mentioning, please do all these homas, assuming certain other things. And suddenly I get the news the person has passed away. This has happened at least 4 or 5 times. So what are the chances that a person can pass away in the time when something has been written about it? So that is something to ponder over, right? So something very different. No other science can, talk like that. So while we also know that you want to extend it, you have to plead to God and ask for extension. And because of your prayer, it is so. But just because it cannot be accurately calculated, or if you feel it is beyond, or why should we even calculate, then that's a totally different matter. If you want to skip the entire exercise, like, I'm not interested in knowing this. There are many clients who say, I'm not interested in knowing this. Maybe fear factor also. And it's not so easy to digest the statements given by the astrologer. See, but another thing, all of you, should have noticed is that there are basically some strong rules written to categorize whether it is in the period of Balarishta, or it is a Madhyayush horoscope, or a Purnayush, a full life. But then again, the rishis are divided here in terms of what exactly is Purnayush, what exactly is the Madhyayush bracket, what is Balarishta, is it 8 years or is it 24 years, and so on. Like when Prahlad mentioned 23, it came close to the upper limit of 24. So, there is a category also. And a very interesting, one of the first things that I learned from the difficulty in longevity calculations was when Dr. B.V. Raman himself confessed about one case study where he was reading the horoscope of a boy, and he said the person has longevity up to Saturn Rahu. So Saturn Rahu will be the strong Maraka period when the person will pass away. He obviously connected it to many Maraka factors. Without that, he wouldn't have said that. But the boy passed away in Rahu Saturn. You see that? So it is still possible to pinpoint the planets, but then maybe Dr. B.V. Raman missed out on in which age group this person belongs to. Is it in this side or that side? So it becomes very complex. So if you know from the yoga point of view, or afflictions of, let's say, the 8th house and 8th house lord and so on, then you can try to say whether it is in this Balarishta side or the Alpaish side, and Madhyayish and Purnayish side. So usually Alpaish extends up to 32. But Balarishta divided 8 years, 24 years. I don't know, but 8 somehow, 8 into 3 times that, 24. So there's something about 8 years. Okay. The 8th year seems to be a pointer, because I also heard of children passing away at 8, exactly 8. So 8 is also a pointer, and 24, 32, then 64 or 72, because then what is Purnayish? Is it only 64? How many of you believe that in those days the longevity was very high?
It depends on what era you're talking about. During times of war, it's much shorter.
Average, okay.
I think the older you go in time period, I think the longer was probably the longevity by the mere classification of Ayus.
So I
But
think
I
in
think-
yugas before Kali Yuga, like Satya Yuga and Treta Yuga, they say the longevity was much, much higher. But in Kali Yuga, if you go back few years, it was definitely lower than now. Maybe now it is because of medical advances.
No, but in all yugas, the human life it's given as 120 years, isn't it? So
Yeah, the very fact that they gave 120, doesn't it give an indication? I don't know.
so there would have been people in
No,
different
but we are
years.
made to believe that it was 800 years, 1000 years, 1500 years, and so on in other yugas.
But that is for rishis and in or normal person you're talking about.
I have a feeling
Say
they were
even normal
talking.
people.
I have a feeling that they were talking about rebirth, all included, and the person is just doing the same thing over and over again, and not changing his ways, just changing the body. And so they put it like this person has been like this for 1500 years. I think it must have been that.
Sir, can you
Because
make
if
me
you-
host, sir? Somebody is waiting.
What happened?
Can you make me host, sir? Somebody is waiting and they're not able to log in.
Is it? I've already allowed everybody to get in. No, it's enable, disable the waiting room, so everybody can get in. Anyway, I'll make you. That's not. But it's not that, I think. Yeah. Maybe many did not know today's class, I think, because we swapped it,
Yep, there's a confusion, I guess, sir. I will let them know.
But on what platform you're informing them? The message is being sent on patreon.com.
Yes, sir. They are pinging me on WhatsApp, but I think so. He's looking at the wrong invite.
This is not for them, right? The BSPA.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
No, I thought he's part of the BSPA group, but
No. You tell them yesterday's session was your session. Today is only for BSPA. Okay. Just have a message and copy paste it.
Even in Greek side, many people, they live long lives.
All this non-verifiable, Prahlad. Because the genetic system, we know science today. We'll have to take everything with a pinch of salt because we know the evolution of the body also. It wouldn't have been so wide off that anything can live that long. The human body is so complex, or any body is so complex, it won't last that long. Of course, we have turtles, I think, which last for 300 to 350 years or something.
And they say even alligators can live long as they get food and taken care of.
All this non-verifiable, right? It will not be not confirmed. Even now, if
It
somebody
depends
says
upon the
they claim, I'm 125 years or 127 years, all this non-verifiable.
it depends upon the inhale and exhale, the number of times that you take it, right, sir?
Whatever you do, even rishis had short life, right? Adi Shankara, for example. In which case, the people will say he was liked by God, so he went away. And if you live long, then what is the explanation? God doesn't like you. So something else is happening here. Okay. But especially with God, he's not bothered about death, because for him, there is no death. The body is just thrown away and the soul goes on. So as far as he's concerned, he will have no tears for anybody's death. Okay.
Will the idea of like Kala Desha Patra apply here, Guruji? Like in this age, the category of Madhyayu, the category of Purnayu, will that keep changing with Kala? Like can
Yes,
it
exactly.
be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the reason why there is no consensus on by the rishis on what exactly is the category. Okay, but there are many books that say that 0 to 8 is one strong group where the worst can happen. Usually that was there, right, in the beginning or until recently before the vaccination and all this medical advancement came. The chances of a child surviving the first 8 years was very, very difficult.
Guruji,
And
new data in US suggests that up to 35% has increased in childhood cancers, and especially kids below 1 year in US.
that's what, it will keep coming back. It's not that science has completely changed everything. It doesn't change karma so quickly. So the basic thing will still persist, like even if you say with the advancement of science only, this COVID did all this, right? So it's not so easy. Just by science, you can overcome all this. It's still karma only is working on the background. So we were just talking about why the dashas and why we have separate set of rules that in dasha and antardasha something is happening. And is that the deciding factor, or is there a yoga based longevity that if you have this yoga, then you live this long, and a minimum guarantee has to be given? Like when Prahlad mentioned, in spite of knowing that this Panchamahapurush yoga gives this much, this much lifespan, we have seen with Panchamahapurush yogas, the person has died earlier. So it's not that with one, there's a strong, dependable rule in astrology that where you can say this with certainty. So what do you say? For example, if you have guessed that the person is going to live long based on the yogas, when you see a Maraka period, are you going to tell there is no chance for Maraka because you have a long lifespan and there's no need to do Mahamrityunjaya or all this charity that has been recommended? We cannot take that chance. And one of the points here is maybe Yoga Ayush is the actual lifespan, and all other danger in life in which comes in between has to be treated as a ganda, as a possibility, out of turn, not. And what is the term that the Maharishi uses for this? Harini, in Sanskrit, a particular word he uses again and again in the Dashadhyaya.
I'll check now, Guruji.
Yeah, please. It is like out of turn, not exactly that. It's not that what was originally determined by the horoscope, but something in between, not the regular thing. Like if you come out of school at this particular year, no, instead of that, you come halfway through.
Yeah, okay. Akala Mrityu or something like that.
Akala Mrityu, correct. Akala Maranam, not of the Kala. So what does it mean, Akala? Is it not part of Kala? It is Kala only, but based on the Dasha and Antardasha. So the hint that Akala is that out of turn, not exactly that, but even before that, things can happen. But he's using one more word. I remember it, but right now I'm not able to recall. It starts with an A.
Is it Mrityu Tulya, Guruji?
Not Mrityu Tulya. It starts with an A sound, but there's a Mrityu in it. Okay. So on and off, he uses this term. And premature death, like what Sethu Ravichandran has typed, is also, the same meaning only. Okay, let me go through what you have typed.
We are typing what you're saying, Guruji.
Okay, very good, very good. So that we can see it in the video. Okay, good. Okay, but if it's possible or not, personally, I know it's possible, but you need to have that good mood to do it, and something maybe helps you. Some of the people who have been very close to me in Chennai, they know about it. I've given the date of death for 6 people. They all died on the same date. It's not impossible. But today I actually repent for doing it. I don't know. Personally, I feel it is wrong. I shouldn't have done it. But that time it was to prove astrology and to prove my skills. Maybe I was, I was trying to, this word, Apamrityu, correct. Nagaraj Iyer, thank you. Apamrityu. is the exact word he uses. What is that? What can somebody translate the meaning of apamrityu? Is it the same as akala marana or out of turn? Whatever I'm hinting at.
I think it's the same, Guruji.
It's the same, is it? Okay.
Yeah, and the remedy, I believe, is to chant Mahamrityunjay mantra.
Okay.
For all apamrityu.
Yeah, sometimes he keeps changing the animal that has to be donated. Within a dasha, something to do with the dasha touch is also there. Sometimes he says ox, the male of the, the cow and the ox. So why does he say goat sometimes? Why does he say, this cow or that cow? Yes, tell me.
Apamrityu is sudden death.
Apamrityu is sudden death, which is not on the original one. Okay, but apamrityu is only sudden. Sudden means not expected.
Yes, Guruji. And also sudden illness and dying.
Yeah, sudden. So you should give allowance for this. You should, because human will is so strong. The events around us is so strong. So something out of turn can happen. In which case, what happens to the karma of the person? It gets into the complete thing is jeopardized. And everything is like the computer is now, everything is messed up within the karmic system. You think nothing happens. Life just continues from where it went off. So whatever was left in the prarabdha, it will just carry forward into the next. As far as the karma system is concerned, it doesn't bother with all these things. It will go on next. It just carry forward. Okay. Normally it doesn't happen. Very rarely, due to some catastrophes, natural catastrophes, earthquake, and a flight crash and all that. Overall, something is happening. And you also are there at that point in time, and then something can happen. But even at that time, I know many situations where, these are interesting cases about lifespan. We did some study on this in the direct classes. A lot of evidence came. So one person missed the flight, but that flight crashed and everybody died. So we checked the person's horoscope and found he was not running a Maraka Dasha and Antardasha. Okay. And that he had it was a good time for him at that time. So we also feel that when the bad time comes, they all group up together and they're available there. Like in the floods, what is that? In the tsunami story, I've written about 3 people going to the beach. You must read that article. Okay. In case you are not read it.
Yes, sir. Like you explained in one of the classes.
Yeah. So we have, instead of saying we can't do it, we can say it's difficult.
Guruji, so this apamrityu, right?
Yeah.
I was going through this, and one of Sanjay Rath reference, they use this 3 different kinds of Vimshotri based on moon's nakshatra. One will be like Janma Vimshotri is direct, and then that's Upapana Vimshotri something, then Shema, then Adana. And if all the Vimshotris are ending at the same time, like if a Mahadasha, and all these 3 Vimshotris are ending at the same time, that can also be an indication, they say, for apamrityu. And yet to check this, only today I was admitted.
The tsunami stuff is in experiences with astrology, that blog. Okay. My experience is astrology. It is there on my website, I think. It's a word. I had it first on Knowles. Then I shifted to WordPress.com. From there, it has now been shifted to my website, astroekdk.com. So where shall we start? What will be the method? Which house will be the strongest house? Okay, before getting into that, let's have a kind of a conclusion with whatever we said so far. While lifespan calculations are difficult, it is still possible. We cannot say it is difficult and therefore give it up. It's good that we experiment with it. We'll forget all about the differences about what is a category, because at least you know what we mean. It's always a it's relative term, right? When you say long life, long life would be based on the Kala Desha Patra only. Nowadays, what is the average lifespan? From there, the up and the down, you have to adjust accordingly. But there are some lines where Maharishi himself has used that exact year itself. Chatur Vimshati Varshani. The 24th year will pass from the birth of the native. 24 years will pass from the birth of the native who has the Bala Rishta or Janma Rishta in them. Therefore, up to that period, the age of the native should not be assessed. This is something like there's always a danger, and after that, anything goes. So don't try to read the chart and try to guess what might happen. Do you know the basis on those recent, before all this started in India, the revolution of astrology started? Before that, until quite recently also, if you take the horoscope of a child, the astrologer will say, come after 8 years. Do you know what was the logic for that?
Would some say after 12?
Okay, whatever it is, 8 or 12, whatever they say. What might have been the logic? Is it a bad luck to see the chart? If that was true, why always the horoscopes of prince and princess was always read on the same date the child was born? Can anybody guess why astrologers refuse to study the horoscope of? Oh,
maybe
okay.
Maybe if they have a very good horoscope, then the king's or the daughter or son, right? So it's a threat for the kingdom.
It was poverty was prevailing everywhere.
Okay.
That is the Balarista period, sir.
Yeah, but then why refuse?
They don't want to share the negatives if they saw something really bad.
Maybe sir, like the mother, father charts will work till 8 years, and then like the child chart start working.
But then why can't you read the chart? Why do they?
We can read the chart, sir. Somehow,
why the astrologer says, please come after so many years? And he will even go to the extent of saying it is bad luck to read it now, to frighten the person away. Why?
Guruji, they don't want to get into an awkward situation.
Fantastic. That's the answer. That's the answer. Because it is so complex. And if they roll out all the statements about how great this horoscope is, in the future, all this is going to happen to this person, and the boy or the girl dies within 8 years. In those years, the infant mortality rate was very high. Unlike what we think today. Today, it is all, that's why the population is booming. Now we are close to 8 billion, which the earth must have never seen. So it is obvious that they didn't want to be in a situation where he said all this, but the child passed away. And so they lose faith in that astrologer. So since the astrologer himself found it very difficult to calculate longevity, as Mahārshis have accepted it, this is the most difficult topic. And based upon that, they said, why take the risk? Who's going to, whereas the kings, they never had a choice. If the king called, he has to go. Okay.
Guruji, some also add the point that if the child dies before the age of 4, it's because of the mother. If it's before 8, then it's the father. And if it's before 12, the last part from 8 to 12, then it's the own.
Yeah, it won't be because of that. It will also be because of the child's karma also. How can there be a totally overriding, the karma which happens? It's not possible. It will work in tandem. That's the right way, because we are all, we are all trying to grow out of all these superstitions. Nobody can affect another person's karma like that. We are not gods to do that. It only means interacting. See, for example, you will see father's chart and the child's chart showing certain things. Father or mother has, putra dosha, and then the child has some problems. And then it'll happen like that. Because what did they say? If the fifth lord is afflicted and badly placed, what did the Maharishi say? No children. If children are born, they will pass away. Or they will leave you. So basically there'll be a lot of concern. So if that is the situation, if a child arrives, there is a greater possibility of the child going. But then let's say they have 4 children and only one child dies. Why? That child whose horoscope has strong, reasons, Balarisha and so on, that child will pass away. And there the parents' putra dosha and this child's karma will match. It is never that as though the child never had anything of this, then it is totally injustice, right? It has no proper reason. And that is illogical in karma theory. So always, you can never pass on this blame game. You can't play this blame game. You can't blame it on anybody else. So there will be something connected. Every time I see, problematic children's chart, the moment I see this child's chart, same position, same planetary position, whatever has afflicted this child will also be in the same position in the mother or the father's chart. Most of the time. It's so common that nowadays, even if I don't have the mother's or the father's chart, I'll simply say, just check your this child's your chart or your spouse chart. That is mother or father's chart. This plant will be here, and they'll say, wait a minute, let me go through my Jagannath Hora. I have it on my system. And they'll immediately say, yes, you're right. It is there, and they will share the screen during a consultation. Then I'll also see. It has now reached a boring point. Before that, I was excited the moment I saw this. How is it so, interlinked? So this is the point. So it'll always be in tandem. It won't be separately. Sometimes separate things of doshams, not longevity, not at the level of longevity. Some other doshams might be there. Only one of the parent, just father or mother, gets connected to the dosha. The other parent does not see the problem at all. So there it may be different. But still, like I think I told you about it. A child who never grew up at all. He was only 1.5 feet for 8 years, but died exactly on the 8th year, the exact 8th year birthday. Okay, so the horoscope was so negative. It had almost everything where the planet should not be in one chart. So I didn't sleep for nearly a week after seeing that child. I was just thinking about what this soul might have done, but I was also very happy that it exited finally. So those are the times when you welcome death. Okay.
Guruji, for such cases, or generally, does the child start with like Yaranadasani, like Sade Sati? Because some of the charts we have seen, or at least I've seen, where the child that died young also had the 7.5 connection.
It won't be just that, because so many people with 7.5 at birth have survived. But this could be an additional point. It adds to the bad luck. Okay. Okay, where will we start? How will we even think that there could be a possibility, a problem?
Guruji, Lagna Lord debilitated. I mean, if there's a problem with the Lagna, then...
Okay, when you're looking at this longevity alone, which will be the main house for longevity?
8th house, sir.
8th house.
Sure, right?
Yes, sir.
And surely not the first house.
It is again stack up method, sir. First house, 8th house, and 8th house Lord.
No, of this, which is more important? Is it the first house or the 8th house?
I think the Lagna has to be strong to support anything.
So first house to see the overall condition, sir.
Beautiful. The first house to see the overall situation. Okay. And we'll have to slowly assemble these points. I am so happy that you people are documenting it as soon as I say. A very interesting, a slight going away from the Lagna happens when the Maharishi is discussing all this. For the first time, he discusses the moon as a reference point. Have you noticed it? The moon as a reference point. Suddenly, and not any other graha until for certain times. And then, the Karaka for longevity, Saturn. So he also refers to Saturn separately. So this is the key. But without doubt, we can say the most important house is only the 8th house. Okay. And what is the reason for that? Anybody?
Eighth house itself is like house of longevity, sir, and sudden events.
Even 3rd house is also of longevity, right? Ayush Thanas are 3 and 8. The 12th therefrom becomes Maraka.
That's good.
So it is equal, right? 3 and 8. But why 8 has gained precedence over every other house?
It's also the house of death.
Death and rebirth, sir.
Rebirth. Okay, very nice point. Can you say something which is very strongly connected? The way you can see the 8th house.
Hidden
things.
Marivasthana.
Can you say death is a gradual process?
Sudden.
The key word is sudden, right? What is the common statement you hear from people? He was living so long and suddenly he died.
Brings to mind Shane Warne, Guruji.
Yeah. He is living so many years. He was there and suddenly he died. So that death is, the key word for death is, it's not, if you're sick and you've been sick for 10 years, 15 years, that is a different thing. But death is a purna matter. It doesn't come half death and so on. Death is at one shot, it's over. Correct? And then it goes for rebirth. So it's definitely the 8th house. So I'm on page GC Sharma's 191. The 8th house. Harini, you have this book, GC Sharma's book, 191, page volume 1.
Yes, Guruji, I will take
It comes on the right side. Okay. That is, the 8th house deals with what?
$191.
GC Sharma is 191. Yeah. Volume 1, 191. Palindrome. It is where he talks about a short description of each house.
Which Harini doesn't have GC Sharma's book because I
Oh,
have
is
it.
it? Okay. Okay, I'll read out the content.
I got it.
Yeah.
Lagneshe Ashtamage Jataha Siddha Vidya.
No, not that. Not that. That is, you are reading Lagna in the 8th you're reading. This one is chapter number 13. Judgment of houses. Short description of each house. Chapter number 13.
The 8th house is to be consulted to know about the longevity, battle,
Exactly.
enemies, forts,
wealth of the dead, the details of knowledge of the past and the future lives. This is the exit point for the future lives. Therefore, 8th is the most important house.
Is it Ayu Bhava Phala?
Yeah, correct. Ayu Ranam, right?
It says Ayu Bhava Phala.
No. Yeah. No, not that. If you're having GC Sharma, it is 191. Volume 1. Okay, that's okay. What I know, it starts with Ayu and then Ranam. And then Rimpu. Chapi.
Ripun, Guruji.
Ripum, is it? Okay. Ripum, Chapi, Durga.
Mritdanam.
Mritdanam is of the dead, right? The the wealth of the dead. Somebody died and you got the wealth. Inheritance. Mritdanam. Tata. Gatyanu Kadikam. Correct?
Yes, Guruji.
Sarva. Or whatever it is. Okay. The rest. So what is it? It is the wealth of the dead and so on. Battle, enemies, forts, longevity, all of this.
Guruji, I got the photo of it. Ayu Ranam Ripum Cha Api Durgam Mrutadanam Tata Gatyanu Kadikam Sarvam Pashye
Drandadi.
Dranta Dvichakshana.
Okay. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Longevity. But I think Ranam is usually wounds, right?
Yes. Yes.
But it has been translated as battle here.
Yeah, in battle we used to
get injured. Okay.
Injured. Ripu is enemy.
Ripu is enemy. Okay.
Enemy.
Ran is also battle, Guruji. Rana Bhumi, they say, which is a battle land.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, Rana Bhumi. Yeah.
Okay. This is where most of the death happens, I think, right?
Yes.
Is it not interesting? Is it not interesting that it is bang opposite the second house? Very interesting, right? Can somebody connect the 8th to the 2nd in some way? A battle is not an ordinary event.
Guruji, so second house is like family wealth, those and accumulated. It's about the present. It's talking about those you are living with. And
Your
the 8th
assets.
is directly opposite. 8th is the wealth of somebody who's gone.
Okay. No, from the person's point of view, what is the connection between 8 and 2? Okay, let me save time. See, in all this, in a fight that happens, either I live or the other person lives. One of us will be there. And what is this fight all about? In a war, what really happens? What are they after?
Resources. Wealth or
resources.
Or power, sir.
It is all about second house. So if I survive, I get yours. If you survive, you get mine. But if I look at it from my point of view, when death happens, I lose everything. I lose everything of the second house. No more of anything of the second house. So that's the reason why always the opposite houses are connected and yet opposite. And that house is also the Marakasthana. Whereas for the Ayusthana, the other Ayusthana, the third, the opposite is 9th house. So it doesn't spell it out so clearly like how 8 and 2 is. The 3 and 9. Do you understand what I'm saying? The opposite houses. 3 and 9 are opposite, right? 2 and 8 is opposite. Anybody's confused with what I'm trying to say?
No, Guruji.
Everybody's fine, right? So with my I went for getting more land and conquering another person's land. In the process, I end up losing everything that I have. That is second house. But if I survive, I get his also. I get theirs also. Hmm? So that's why it's so intimately connected to this. And in battle, the death can be quick, or most of the death happens in pursuit of wealth, like in Mechanus Gold. Everybody loses life one by one. Till the very end, it is battle for money and assets. How sad. So the second house, Maraka, the 8th house longevity, is definitely the most powerful houses as far as death is concerned. But without the primary weakness of the Lagna Lord and the Lagna factor and the moon, things cannot happen. There should be a permission from this. Okay. So we have documented this one sloka, right? I mean, if you have Santanam's book, and anyway, it's about judgment of houses. So maybe chapter numbers might be slightly different. Sometimes it might be the same. I do not have the Santanam's book here. So chapter number 13, 191, about the 8th house. I also noticed when the animal attacks in the wild, it always goes for the genitals. Have you seen it? And that is the 8th house.
Guruji,
Okay.
What was the connection between longevity and you said moon, Lagna, and one more, I forgot what was it.
Saturn.
Okay, Guruji.
Saturn has the permanent karaka for longevity, lifespan.
Okay.
Okay. We are going to, slowly get into all of this, but let's go, I mean, it has to be slow because it's very complex. That's why we are going like this. Okay. Now, amongst the description of houses, you don't get anything that describes this, what we are discussing today, with any other house, right? If you say first house, second house, third house, fourth house, and so on, there's nothing like 8th house. So 8th house is a very clear-cut house of longevity. So we should keep an eye on the 8th house more than anything else. Okay, now coming to the lords of houses in various houses. In that, any sloka that catches your attention with regard to lifespan, as soon as you spot one, you please raise your hand and read it out. And when you read it out, one of you type it out. Okay.
Guruji,
Guruji, I have the BPHS in Word format. So while people are talking,
we will do before that. I want to tell you, let's do it in the order so that because it's getting documented. So we'll start search for the first house, either positive or negative. You understand what I'm saying? Positive means long life, healthy, because health is a good indicator of long life. Disease is something to do with the bad side of longevity. So disease mentioned, also you should note it down. But if there is some specific word about short life, middle life, and long life or something like that, please mention it. But let's go in the order so that tomorrow when we search, just going through the last portion of this video, you can always get back all the rules quickly. Okay. So who wants to go first? It will only be first house related. Raise your hand. Just do one and give opportunity for others.
do we need to also mention the longevity of the wife, Guruji?
No. It's not. It's only about themselves. Only about the native.
Guruji, Lagna Lord in the 6th. The native is deprived of bodily pleasures.
No, but did you not miss out on something else before that? Is there something that you missed out? I said, let's also do the positive side, because in the stack up method on either side, pros and cons type, plus and minus, you need to also give weightage to what about good health and other things of lifespan and other things. So go back through the book from the beginning, you start. And it's not just about longevity. It is more about health also. If you find any word that gives you a clue, I should use this in the stack up. Stack up means not on one side. Maybe what shall we use for this? Pros and cons type, plus minus. Yeah, I was looking for that word. Positive, negative points. Okay, positive and negative.
Lagna Lord and Lagna, healthy and long-lived. In notes, it has given long-lived.
Does he say long-lived? It doesn't, I think, right? He only says healthy.
Yes, Guruji.
But in notes, it has given Guruji.
No. Notes, you always ignore it. It is just one more astrologer who has added it up. So don't bother about that unless it is being told. Okay. But health, good health, at least we will take it as a pointer. Okay. Let's look for the exact word health. What is the word he has used there? Arogyam something?
Physical problem.
Deha Sukha Bhagya, sir.
Yeah, Deha Sukham. So Deha Sukham, at least as long as he lives, is healthy. Okay, so that's a good way to start. Okay, next one. I think the next one was what Prahlad started, I think. I think he started with Lagna Lord in the 6th.
Yeah, Guruji. So,
can you read it out?
In the event, if Lagna Lord is in the 6th, the native is deprived of bodily pleasures. And if under the influence of a malefic and has no benefic aspect, then he'll be troubled by an enemy. Here, enemy can also be called as disease, Guruji.
No, I think enemies could be literally, enemies, like being hurt. But anyway, once you say unhealthy, it could be disease anyway, right? From unhealthy itself, you get disease. But then, was it caused by enemies? Was it that it was hurt by enemies? See, nowadays, because of all this medical advancement, even when they're injured, they're saved. But in those days, it was too late. There's nothing like, Ayurveda takes longer time. And most probably, I don't know what exactly happened. I'm not so sure because Ayurvedic doctors today claim that they have medicines that can cure instantly, like how allopathy does also. I think even Dr. Soumya also said the same. So I'm not sure. But basically, Lagna Lord 6th is disease, deaths and enemies. I get connected to disease, deaths and enemies. That's all. I get connected to disease, deaths and enemies. First Lord in the 6th house. But here is the greater clue. Related to malefics, is there more and more problem with this graha? And then you see that no Shubha Drishti. Maybe if Guru is opposite, bang opposite, or Guru's 5th house or 9th house aspect is falling, or Venus is bang opposite. You know why Drishti and not conjunction? Because in a conjunction, it will get into the 6th house anyway, right? The graha. So he's used that very cleverly. He says it should not be there, but it should be somewhere else, opposite, and having a drishti on this house. That planet itself should not be in trouble in the 6th house. Because, 6th house is like a trouble house. Disease, deaths and enemies. It's a dushtana. Okay.
So, but if there is a drishti, then it will be in 12th house. Another dushtana.
No, it can be even the other, the Guru's aspect 5-9 also.
Okay.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter, even if it is in the 12th. Drishti, when it comes to Drishti, you don't have to associate with where it is placed. Yeah, it's a very important rule in Drishti. The aspect alone, don't use the logic of he himself is in bad spot. That doesn't come.
Okay, sir.
Drishti is like, I'm keen on that house, something like that. I am direct. What is Drishti actually? Instead of saying I am seeing, you have to connect it to the light. Something of light gets reflected into that area. It's all about the sun's light on planets and reflection. That's a physical way of looking at what is Drishti. But if you don't want to use it like that, you say the planet has some intention on that house. When I'm looking here at this screen or that screen, I have some intentions on that. I want to do something on that. That's why I'm looking there. Okay, so intention, Shubha Drishti. So Shubha, a good intention, like that.
Usually, where there is attention, there is life.
Okay, good. Yeah. There is, opposite of it is carelessness. Yeah, okay. And then please go on searching for more. I think, have we done with Lagna, or is there that the last one, the Lagna Lord in the 12th?
No, there's also Lagna Lord in the 8th that talks about
First in 8th, sir.
Unhealthy, yeah. So please document it. Lagna Lord in the 8th, unhealthy. We will leave at that. Let's not read about the other things about anger and all that. We will go to Lagna Lord in the 12th. Bad health. So within one house itself, the first Lord, we got so many positions. Okay. Within this, did we miss out on anything like long-lived, statements like long-lived? Something escaped our attention? No, right? Okay. Now we move on to second house. In second house, anything? So while you read this text, you'll also, notice that with malefic one result and with benefic one result, like in second Lord and sixth, but it's not relevant to our topic today. So keep the same logic for even longevity. Okay.
So second Lord in 9th, sir. Sick during childhood.
Okay, very good. If second Lord is in the 9th, you just can't even imagine how the rishis would have said this, right? Because there's no way to connect it.
See, that is 9 is 8th from the second.
Okay. We'll take that. So sick during childhood is the one point. So if this child has more to do with Balarishta and maybe more moon afflictions and etc., then maybe the second Lord in the 9th can be very troublesome. But these are things that we'll miss out, because the moment you see 9th house, your mind will go off. After that, you will never even recall that there's a possibility of being sick during childhood. That's the reason I always tell, keep this thing as a ready reckoner. So whenever I do consultation, I always have it on the side. This particular thing is printed out for me.
If the second Lord is in the 6th, right? He says we'll have lost through his enemies and will be weak-tied. Ties will be weak.
Okay.
Does that somehow link with any of this? Maybe by the sloka, translation or anything?
I don't think so. Why
enemies
you
also
feel that thighs and legs might be something. But no,
I
gain
think he's
of wealth
talking
is...
about mutilation, sir. Mutilation of the thighs or shanks, according to the Santanam books.
Okay, that is injury there on the thighs. But why is the thigh connected? Maybe 6th house and 12th house are opposites. And the legs are connected to the 12th house. It's not totally unconnected. See, always keep an eye on the opposite house. Okay. Okay, let's move on. So we are gaining a lot of information. Sick during childhood, we saw. In this, there is nothing about long life, right? There's nothing about health. Third Lord in the first, third Lord in the second. Interestingly, the third Lord in the 7th is one of the combinations for government job. Okay. This third Lord in the 8th will die at the gate of a royal palace. What does that mean? Usually,
connote longevity, right?
Yeah, it is, because in those days, the execution happened right in front of the king. You know that the criminals were killed right in front.
Guruji, one more question. So second Lord in 12th, they say dependent on others.
Okay.
Can that word be meaning like a kind of dependency is only based on money here, or is it also based on
which one?
Second Lord in 12th, one of the translation parts is dependent on the others. Only
some have translated into interested in others' wealth, right?
Yes, sir.
Or losing wealth. No, anyway, it's not connected to our what we are searching for. So we'll move on. Third Lord, anything? Third Lord?
I'm reading all the slokas.
Okay. Third Lord, nothing, I think, right? Okay. So you see, even though third house is Ayush Sthana, at least from this, you don't find anything being mentioned. Huh? So now you understand why when Rahu Ketu is on 2-8 axis, the Rishi keeps saying something like 32, 45, and 60. So the 2-8 axis is the real axis of danger. Then fourth house, anything?
In the fourth house, the Lord is in the third house. Sorry, the fourth Lord is in the third house. Then
Healthy.
From diseases.
Yeah, healthy or recovery, quick recovery from disease. So there are other translations which says that quick recovery from disease. Okay. I hope somebody is typing it out, because we'll have a strong database once we have done.
I'm actually going forward, Guruji. Before we can reach that house, I am already finishing that house.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
I'll be ready with the notes.
Okay.
I think we missed in the notes third Lord in the 8th.
Third Lord in the 8th we missed, is it?
No,
I mean,
Guruji,
the typing
that was, no, that was only about the gates, right?
Yeah, that is execution, death by execution, most probably. So we got a clue because it's also a thief.
Okay.
So, I mean, should we take that or we'll keep it in mind? Yeah, okay.
There are two questions. There are two questions, Guruji. One is about the shanks, that one, and the gates.
Okay, then document it. Yeah, document it and keep it there.
Both do not necessarily mean longevity, because a person can be old enough and still be executed and still have the problems with the thighs.
Okay, okay.
So that way there's a contradiction, I was thinking. But if you feel it's important, I can make a mention.
No, uncle, it's like this. What if the Mahadasha comes early, or something that's saying that's activating those places, and there are afflictions? Then it might happen at a sooner age.
But
so the Mahadasha will define the timing of the event, whether it be young or old.
Probably that could apply for what Guruji said, no, about the gates.
Yeah.
So not the thighs, because the thigh would not be a life-killing thing, right?
No. Before the thigh, the word that was mentioned was dependent on others. What does dependency mean is what my question is. Do they mean like being dependent, like you are not able to do anything and somebody is taking care of you? Then in that case, it would mean like health issue, or is it only related to money?
There is an ambiguity there, Sai. So I was not willing to put that there. But if Guruji feels that, I'll put it. No problem. There's some ambiguity, vagueness there. That is what I want.
Then we'll skip that. Yeah.
Guruji, are we going to even talk about Antardasha's effects? The Dasha?
No, not at this point. We are only going to build up the points for the plus minus. Okay.
But later, Guruji, when we are going to go into the stack up methods, then we might have to come back to this.
Yeah. We'll come back. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So which house are we, right? In fourth house, right?
Yeah. Fourth Lord in 11th, sir. Secret diseases.
Secret diseases. Okay. Secret diseases means the symptoms are not visible to the outsider. Only the person knows the problem. You can't by looking at a person tell them what they are going through. You need some, only they should tell you. Well, that's the meaning of secret disease. Many people thought it is sexually transmitted disease, but it's not. Even diabetes, the occurrence of diabetes and especially diabetes is very high for fourth Lord in the 11th. Using common sense there, comfort and labha. So the more comfortable you are, the more chances are there for, diabetes.
There are benefic planets in the fourth, then mother's long life is said.
Yeah, we can go over individual houses and search for, because we have before this chapter, the rishis have mentioned first house, second house, third house, fourth house. We will keep searching for more statements pertaining to longevity. But here we are not going to go to anyone else in the family. We are just going to stick to the person, only the native. So the word used here for the person is the native. Okay, that's a typical language in astrology. Anything in the fourth house other than fourth lord in the 11th secret disease, which I found very helpful? Blood pressure, but actually includes sexually, something with the organs also. Some problems. It includes all of them at one shot. Anything about fifth house and lifespan or health?
Yes, Guruji, there is one.
Yes.
Fifth in the 8th house.
Cough and pulmonary disorders.
Yes, and there's one small confusion.
In the context, this is the lung problem and the heart problem.
Yes.
Both. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And another confusion is coming in the 10th house. He will enjoy a Raja Yoga. Can we connote that as a longevity related thing?
No, not it. A Raja Yoga can be experienced by a person with a short life also.
The 5th and 8th, you said two things, right? One is heart problems, another one?
Heart lung.
Yeah, lung problems. Okay.
The point is, most of these people have wheezing problem, or they have something else connected to the lung. So these people, when they get virus that is infecting the lungs, they'll be more susceptible to, or the possibility of death will increase. Okay. So the best way is to tell them that this is your weakest point, and make sure you don't smoke. You should tell them. And you do pranayama, breathing exercise, and try to develop immunity. Basically, drop in immunity when the fifth lord is in the 8th. Anything else in the 5th? But you can also give importance to this one where you find a combination and house number 8 got involved. How's that? If the house number 8 gets involved, it is even more stronger, like in this case, 5th lord in the 8th. Because 8th house is the most important house. Okay. Then 6th house lord in the 1st, unhealthy. So when I'm going to 6th house, you see that. What would happen if Lagna lord is in the 6th and 6th lord is in Lagna? Parivartana. Anybody wants to guess?
Life is full of diseases.
Only disease all the time. Okay, only disease and deaths and enemies all the time. Extremely unfortunate to have a parivartana between 6th and 1st. See, in parivartana there are two parivartanas. One is exactly both bhava and rashi. Everything will be the same. In some, it won't be. It will only be in the bhava chart. But the real parivartana is, the full weightage should be given to that parivartana which involves the actual sign itself. So sign and bhava, both together is a surefire parivartana. 100% you can make a statement on that. Okay. Anything else like unhealthy in this? Because 6th house is a house of health.
Sixth lord in 8th house, sir. The native will be sickly.
6th lord in the 8th is extremely harmful. Okay, this is my personal experience. The incidence of very dangerous terminal disease is very high in 6th lord in the 8th. Keep that in mind always. Okay, it's done. Sixth house is over. Again, you see it is 8th house, right? Unhealthy. There are people who say a bad planet going to a bad house is good. Viparita Raja Yoga. In case of 6th Lord in the 8th, there's nothing positive. So please don't generalize things like simply saying 6th in the 8th is good or 8th in the 6th is good or 6th in the 12th is good and so on. So look out for permission from Maharishi Parashara. If that text says something, that you can take it as a Viparita Raja Yoga. So 6th Lord, 6th house is over, I think, right?
Yes, sir.
Which is 7th Lord and Lagna, it says devoid of fortitude.
And also affected by windy diseases.
And yes.
Vata is basically slightly unhealthy, but people can manage a Vata problem. So it's not really about, what to say, let's not bring this up.
Seventh Lord in 3rd house, sir. The issue of the native are subjected to early death.
The issue, no, that is the child. So we're not talking about anybody else, I said, right? Only about themselves. So we'll skip that. And then 7th and the 6th is only unhealthy wife or spouse.
So 7th and 4th, sir. Dental diseases.
Dental disease. Okay. Yeah, this we have been seeing repeatedly, the dental problems. Even every other time I've seen 7th Lord in the 4th and I tell them, take care of your teeth. They'll say, already most of it is gone. So these are, very strong. Some of the rules are like this. I don't know why. Why is it so accurate? Good. This is about only the teeth. Basically, once the teeth goes in those days, it is all over, right? After that, you can't eat. Today, they have high level technology. You can have artificial teeth. Anything else in 7th house?
7th Lord and 7th, the native will only be afflicted by windy diseases.
7th Lord in 12th, is it?
7th Lord in 7th.
Okay. Correct. 7th in the 7th is Vata. Vata Rogi, I think. That's what he uses.
So for both 7th and 1st and 7th and 7th, he's mentioning windy diseases. So there's some connection between 1 and 7 houses in Vata.
No, you should from that find out. Reason it out that 7th house is Vata.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, that's the way to find out. If you find some repetitions, try to find what is a common thing in that. And that must be the pointer. So like that in Briga Sutram, if you read something over and over again, some house references always getting the same thing. That house rules that aspects much more than anything else. So 7th house is truly the Vata house. Okay.
Can anyone explain what is a windy disease? Because I'm not quite clear on that. Thank you.
It's very difficult to explain it, but it's a group of problems that are centered around one particular type of experience, which is usually pain. Okay, it's usually pain. So, what is it about? It will be bone and joint. Always bone and joint. And as an extension of that, people get mixed up with gastritis and, bloating, the bloated stomach. And then it's actually based upon restricting your movement. Okay. So it will slow you down.
Lagna.
What? Okay, for those of you who don't know what is Vata, Vata has most number of diseases within it. The ancient books have managed to put out almost 80 types of diseases under Vata, half of it in Pitta and half of that in Kapha. So Kapha is less, Pitta is more than that, and so on. You have to refer to some nice Ayurvedic websites to find out about what is Vata. Vata is basically connecting to air and ether, space. So in a way, people having Vata will have a lot of gas problem. Okay. But what are the main symptoms? It will be usually dry skin, scratching, there is itching, scratching, and then bone and joint problems, and especially muscular problem. So the muscle, people think the muscle holds the skeleton holds the entire body. It's the other way around. The muscle clings on to the skeleton and then holds the body. So they'll have muscular problem. And usually all this dizziness comes under this. Vertigo, Parkinson's syndrome. Wherever the hands shiver, these are all Vata. I think you should go through some Ayurvedic websites. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Circling back, you said like bones and joint and bones?
Yeah, no. For example, spondylosis comes under Vata. The lower back pain comes under Vata. The neck pain comes. Usually, you will want somebody to press, like, can you press so that I'll feel relieved? And somebody presses. It stems from inflicting injury on others by beating them up and things like that. So usually Vata comes like that. So the pain comes back to you. And then you need a massage. You need somebody, I don't know from where the pain is coming. Sudden shooting pain inside the body. So most of the times it is dizziness or simply pain.
Migraine maybe.
Migraine is one of the top things about Vata. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so Guruji, circling back, 8th Lord in Lagna, bereft of bodily pleasures, will have wounds.
Okay, we'll take 8th Lord in the first because the most important thing is this is the house that we are searching, right? Because 8th house is, we already concluded that this must be the one which gives us the maximum clue.
Yeah, Lagna 6th from the 8th.
Huh?
Lagna 6th from the 8th.
Okay, 6th from the 8th. Okay, that is also one way you can say. Very good. Keep this in mind. 8th Lord in the first. Unhealthy. There is a contradiction here because elsewhere in the chapter number where he is talking about longevity, there is a flat rule which says if the Ashtamadhipati is in Kendra, it is good for lifespan, long life. It doesn't mean unhealthy here could be short life. But if you take first Lord, first house alone seems to be under problem in this. Whereas if 8th Lord was placed any other Kendra, like instead of 1, 4, 7, 10, it is surefire rule for longer lifespan. Okay, so you keep this in mind because the 8th Lord in the first is unhealthy. We got some clue here. Okay.
Guruji, what if there is a bad parivartana that we spoke about in yesterday's class between the 6 and 8 or 8 and 10? 8th Lord is
No. If you have that words about, both the references, both the houses are indicating, like in Lagna Lord in 6th and 6th Lord in Lagna, in both the places, the Maharishi very clearly says unhealthy. So if you find common things connecting these houses, the same words have appeared, then the Parivartana will double confirm it. Okay. Otherwise, read it as separate rules.
Okay. Guruji, now 8th Lord in 2nd, it says devoid of physical vigor.
Bodily vigor. Okay. So what is that? Most of the time when you get unhealthy, your strength goes away, right? You cannot stand. You start shivering in fever, or you feel so weak after a virus attack. You are not the normal person for a long time. So bodily vigor is definitely a very important thing. And takes us very close to death, because usually most of the terminal disease takes away our energies. Okay, fatigue. That's the word I was looking for. Feeling weak. I wish I could be more strong. So, fine. Anything else in 8th house?
8th Lord and 5th, sir. Long life.
Before that, 8th Lord in the 3rd is also devoid of vigor.
Wait a minute. Eighth lord in?
Third.
Eighth lord in third. Yeah,
Also,
this, yeah.
Devoid of fraternal happiness.
No, skip all that. Come to the main point. Devoid of vigor. It's also mentioned in eighth lord is in third.
Yeah. Strength.
Correct. Devoid of strength. Correct.
See, it is basically taken from helping. Third house is help. And eighth house is all these disappointment things. So you are having problem with your co-bonds, that is sibling, brother, sister. You yourself are not motivated. Therefore, I think they use the word lazy. No servants is what? You're not helped by people. And no strength. Your strength is only your servant. So it helps you, right? Your own hands. Third house is your own hands. I'm not helping myself. This is but it's not that.
About long life, we have seen only 3 long life mentions in the 8th house, strangely. Whereas in the other houses, longevity is not mentioned.
Exactly. So again, we got one more proof that 8th house is the one which decides lifespan.
Yes, that is the 5th house, the 8th house, and the 11th house with conditions apply.
Okay, that will say whether the condition apply is there or not. At least we know that there is a hint that there is a possibility of long life.
Yeah.
So
For the last one. Yeah, the 11th.
So please document this separately. This is a very important point we should never miss. It's very difficult to find out on what logic this could have been. Only long life, but problem with children and so on. But normally, we would rush to conclusion that a trikona, like 5th house, has a dusthana. As a dusthana lord, it will be an afflictor, right, of the 5th house. But only it takes away, I think, what is the word that the rishis have used, Maharshi has used for not so intelligent? Is there any particular word? I can also turn to that page. Which page is this? Where is it actually?
316.
3-1, huh?
Jada buddhi, sir.
Oh, 316. Okay.
Guruji, won't the logic be like, the 5th becomes the 10th from the 8th?
So, how are you connecting?
It's like Kendra from the 8th.
Okay. Kendra, okay. So is that the common thing for all other things where he's talking about long life? We'll find out. Okay. So
but we are seeing similar concept, Guruji. Like whenever there is a, if like one combination of the 4th house, we see that when the 4th lord is in the 11th, we said something was wrong. So 11th is the 8th from the 4th.
Okay.
So that is one thing. Another one is we see from that the 6th house also becomes a problem.
Okay. But it does affect what did he say?
Other aspects.
Few children get into trouble. Is this the right word for dull-witted? Is that the jada buddhi? Is that correct? The exact meaning of that? Or is it non-reactive, not exactly acting upon?
Jada buddhi would mean basic intelligence, and mand buddhi would mean dim-witted.
Oh, okay. Okay. But wealthy is something that definitely we will miss if we don't refer or have not memorized it. Okay.
And short life is mentioned specifically in the 12th house, Guruji. 8th lord in the 12th house.
But let's finish with 8th lord in the 8th.
Sir, 8th lord in the 5th long life, he mentioned.
Yeah, 8th lord in 5th long life.
8th lord in 6th diseases, sir.
Yeah, diseases.
8th lord in the 5th, I'm saying.
So 8th lord in the 6th is disease, and 6th lord in the 8th is also disease, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So if you see a parivartana between 6 and 8, most of my clients who had cancer had 6 and 8 parivartana. Most of them. It came repeatedly. So if there is a parivartana between 6 and 8, you have to warn them to come off carcinogenic foods. Avoid foods that cause cancer. And you can even make a dramatic statement. If you list out all the carcinogenic foods, they will be actually after it. They will like it the most in order to fulfill the condition. and maida being one of them, they love maida, the refined wheat.
Sir, 8th Lord and 6th, there are several other points mentioned, like defeating his enemies, winning over in litigation.
Okay. There are some positive points. Okay.
Then how come the same thing is not extended to also winning over diseases, sir?
Yeah, this is something we wish the Rishi was available for us to question and find out. So, I mean, we have to give up some places, like we do not know on what basis this could have been. Because they all are in the same house, right? 6 and 8. Our sixth house is disease, deaths, and enemies at one shot. So how does he remove one of them and say only disease?
We say that the longevity part is affected because longevity is going to the 6th.
Okay. Then victory over enemies?
See, victory is there because 8th is destruction, all that. So that they are winning. But the good side of longevity is going to the 6th. Hence, he's becoming diseased.
Okay. I think we should have a separate session for brainstorming like this, only from the point of view of such a very, what shall we say, riddles.
Kasparov has this combination, 8th Lord and 6th.
Oh, I see. Oh, that's why you know. Victory over enemies. Okay. And what about childhood danger from water or snakes? That could be Akala Maranam, right? If snake bite happens, it's all. So snake bite can be also poison entering the bloodstream in any other format. So food poisoning and so on. You remember the story I told about my mother? All of you know that story, right?
That's good.
Yes, and when the astrologer told your mother, your wife will pass away because of a snake bite at this age. I think it was some 27 or 28, I think. And that's when my father shifted my mother out of Kerala just to, escape from the snakes. But then penicillin injection did the same thing. Okay, the same year. So when you read these things, you will have to consider the chances of modification to whatever is there. So 8th Lord in the 6th. So danger through snakes and water. What would be water? Anybody's guess? Anybody wants to guess?
Drowning.
I feel it must be something to do with infection through water, right? Waterborne disease. Considering the word snake existing along with water. Of course, maybe it is a water snake also, but I think more to do with the waterborne infections. Right? A lot of them are waterborne, right? I think jaundice is one, I think, from water it comes. I think in those days, cholera also
comes into that, sir.
Huh?
UTI also comes into that.
What is it?
Urinary tract infection.
Urinary tract infection, because there is a water connection. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Does it also mean this, in Tamil they say Tannilla Kandam, like that? What does a condom in related to water?
Possible, but I don't know whether he really meant that water or only infections through poison through water.
So maybe pneumonia also.
Is pneumonia through water? It is through air, I think, right?
Yeah, pneumonia is air.
Yeah.
Cholera is
water gets filled
Cholera is definitely water.
Tuberculosis?
Tuberculosis, I'm not sure. I don't know. It's a bacterium, right? I don't know if it spreads through water.
Many viruses spread through this,
water, is it?
Liquid substance like blood, cold, all that.
Okay.
Sneezing.
And 8th Lord, and 8th Lord in the 8th gives a beautiful, the entire thing is only about lifespan. And from that, how to assess this. So if the 8th Lord is in the 8th, it is long life. Straight away, with no conditions, he says this. But then he brings in the concept of Shadbala. If the said planet is weak, being in the 8th, the longevity will be medium, and so on. So from that, you'll have to simply, look at the other conditions like, okay, maybe if it is stronger and stronger, more lifespan. So the 8th Lord is in the 8th, and then it is strong in Shadbala, maybe in Vimshopaka. Vimshopaka usually is used only Dasha and Antardasha, but maybe we can still use it. Shadbala is the final word for strength. Maybe it is Uchagraha. So Nicha might be weak. So, but I think when he makes a statement without conditions apply as a standalone statement, no conditions, you should give a lot of importance to that. If the 8th lord is in the 8th, life, long life.
And Guruji, 8th lord in the 11th, again it comes to Kendra.
8th lord in the
11th. Kendra from the 8th.
Okay.
So he says long lived. Like if the native will be devoid of wealth, be miserable in boyhood, be happy in later life. And if the 8th lord is in conjunction with the benefic, then it's long lived. But we can compare the thing, it's 4th from the...
So you're saying that this is the same logic we had used earlier where the Kendra connection was there in 8th lord in the 5th.
Yeah, and also in 8th lord, in 8th lord is being in Kendra from the 8th house perspective.
Okay. That's okay. Yeah, 8th lord in the 8th.
Also, just wanted to ask if the sun and moon in the 8th would be, being the 8th, if they had to be the 8th lord, will they be having this malefic effects? Because there's one shloka which says that sun and moon are not malefics in the 8th house. They do not be counted as malefics.
No, they're usually exempted from the 8th house lordship. That's what I think.
So there is some freedom there from the interpretations.
Yeah.
Guruji, you're saying like a waterborne diseases, right? So which one you're referring to?
Waterborne disease, we are saying 8th lord in the 6th house.
Okay, thank you.
Is 8th lord in 6th mentioned, in the text? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, uncle is written.
Disease, no? 8th lord in the 6th.
No,
we
I mean,
concluded.
In the chat.
Okay. And anything else in this 8th lord in the 12th?
Yeah, short life.
For the first time, we have seen the word short life, right? More problems if it is with a malefic. One more malefic.
A downward pointing arrow.
Did you see that most of the things in the 8th house are red? All in some kind of problems only. Mainly, I think it's because the 8th house is 12th from the 9th house of Bhagya. So let's see 9th house and search for anything about disease or lifespan, questioning lifespan. Anything is coming up in 9th?
Guruji, again a question regarding to the sloka. If it says be troubled by enemies, does it only mean enemies or can we also add diseases or matters of the 6th house?
No, which one? 8th lord in which?
No, 9th lord in the 6th. Okay, it says less fortunate, devoid of happiness from maternal uncles, etc. And he said be troubled by enemies. Now my question is, should we just take only the enemy part or can we also add the 6th house factors like trouble?
No, I think we should not add the disease part because he had even, separated them out in one sloka. So that means Maharshi is keeping an eye on that. So let's take only the enemies part, the real enemies. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So is there anything coming up in the 9th house?
No, Guruji, it's all pass.
Yeah, all pass. You know why? 9th house is Bhagya. It's because of that. And because from this house, one house minus is the 8th house, which is where you see all those, words of longevity and everything. Even the 8th house in other places also. When something went to the 8th house, it became bad and so on. So now you understand why the 8th house is all the more a problem. Because it is 12 from the 9th house. So in 9th house, you don't say anything at all. Which means it's truly a Bhagya house. Okay? So we'll move to the 10th house, anything?
Yeah, 10th in Lagna, it says will incur diseases in childhood.
But happy later on.
Yeah.
10th lord, 8th house, long life, sir.
Beautiful. 10th lord, 8th house, long life. Classical example is our Kanchi Chandrasekharendra Swami. 10th lord in the 8th, long life.
Then Guruji, then the parivartana between the 10th lord in the 8th and the 8th lord in the 10th. would mean long life.
Correct. Yes. Very good.
And there's a frequent occurrence of this statement called troubled by enemies.
Yeah. See, the enemies do harm a person, but need not be health-wise. It could be just enemies as a standalone. Need not be disease, but maybe you can also use it, because I've seen most of the time 10th Lord in the 6th or 6th Lord in the 10th, there are many doctors having this combination. And so I used to think that's because the profession is connected to disease. So 6th house is definitely, you have to keep an eye on all possibilities, disease, deaths, and enemies at one shot. But since we are reading directly from the textbook of Maharishi, we are keeping this as, we will read it as it is. Okay. So anything in this? Except the long life promised by 10th Lord in the 8th. Only 10th Lord in the 8th.
Yeah, 10 in 1 and 10 in 8.
Okay. 10 in 1. 10 in 1 is not that
Well,
much.
maybe, I mean, for stack up, we can use it, right? Like, what if there is all other combinations that are saying bad, and then we see 10 in 1. And if it's a child's chart, then it might add up.
Okay.
I'm saying let's not rule out anything. Let's just have it. In the future, if it doesn't work, we can kill it off.
So in the 11th house?
11th Lord in 8th house, sir, long life.
11th Lord in 8th, long life. Beautiful. Okay. So 11th Lord in the 8th is long life. What about 11th Lord in the 6th, diseased? In this, disease is there and troubled by enemies is there at one time. So from this, you know that he doesn't equate them as, he doesn't treat them as equal for the 6th house. Sometimes he only talks about enemies and sometimes only about disease. How do you remember this? 11th Lord in the 6th, disease.
Guruji, same connection, it's 8th from the 11th.
Okay. But is there any common sense approach to what kind of disease this person will have?
7th house is Vata, sir.
No, I'll tell you. 11th house is desire. And 6th house is disease. I get my disease because of my desire of something that I'm consuming. That is the reason for my disease. So if a person is gone into alcohol or something like that, and then on top of that he has 11th in the 6th, then it will aggravate. Also, if you look at it between the lines, settling in a foreign country, you'll end up eating their food. And their food might maybe very attractive in the beginning, but then the body will reject it. You have to eat your own food because your genetic system will find it foreign and then throw up all kinds of problems into disease. So 11th Lord in the 6th is ask them to keep changing the food patterns. Don't have the same food over and over again. Okay, but this is only about disease, nothing about lifespan. But 11th Lord in the 8th is long life. So how many did we get long life so far? At least 6 or 7?
More like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
I think probably 3 or 4.
Yeah.
For real long life. Okay.
Direct long life is only 3 or 4. Nice.
Okay. 12th Lord. He talks about the disease, kapha disease, 12th Lord in the first. I found this is also the same combination for weight gain most of the time. They'll be very heavy.
Twelfth in 8th, sir. It was like medium lifespan.
12th in 8th, hinting at medium. What could be medium? Midlife, right? Middle would be 32 to 64. Okay.
So 12th and 7th also bereft of strength.
12th in
7th.
Okay, only strength, I think, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Guruji, strength can also mean immunity, right?
Yeah, maybe in the context, but physical strength. See, when you are having a lot of strength, when a disease comes, you have a greater chance. If you're already physically weak, if a disease comes, I mean, it becomes very complex. You don't have the strength. So it can be immunity also. Twelfth Lord and the 8th is medium span. So please note that, very important rule. So it's not like what we thought, the bad lords getting into bad house is always good. But sometimes here you see like 12th Lord and the 8th is gainful, will speak very, soft spoken.
Now 12th Lord and 12th, he talks about not having physical felicity.
Where?
12th and 12th, sir.
Okay, unhealthy. Correct. 12th Lord and the 12th. Are we done?
No. Can we extend this to the non-luminous grahas?
Can we do the 8th house chapter, sir?
No, in non-luminous, you have to go with the text given in that upagrahas. There, if you see some unhealthy and long life or something, we can say something. Do you want to go to the upagrahas and see anything about long life has been mentioned?
Yeah, Guruji, since we are already here in research mode.
Okay.
So before that, one small doubt, sir.
Yeah.
For these lords in different houses, can we also take Rahu and Ketu as Lord of Aquarius and Scorpio and use it for that, or only the main 7 grahas?
Main 7 is the best way, but I've always kept an eye on that also, whatever you said just now. But I wouldn't, be bold enough to say, something about it, because it is like a co-ruled, by these grahas. But the main lords are only that the big ones, the 7 grahas. And because Rahu and Ketu, they change their role several ways, you have to take it very carefully. You can't be very sure that this could be used like that. Straight away, like, for a Makar Lagna, if Rahu, the Lord of the 2nd, is in this house, and read out, this, whatever we did just now. I have not got consistent result with that. But in some cases, I did notice that it gives some extra hint. So give it less weightage, but keep an eye on it. Is that fine?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Guruji, one more question. It is again not related to this exactly. If the planets is having 2 lordships, which one need to be considered, especially in this kind of situation?
Usually where the Mula Trikona is, that will become the stronger of the other.
Okay.
The Lord of, if 2, obviously most of the grahas rule 2 houses. One of them is the Mula Trikona house. That Mula Trikona, whatever you read from this one, will be more strongly felt than the other one. But the other one also will work. And please do not take it as contradiction. It might be at one point in life you go through that, and another point in life you go through the second combination. It won't completely go away. It will still be there on the background. Okay. So quickly going to Upagrahas, which is a chapter number for Upagrahas?
41 page number.
Which one?
341.
341, is it? Okay.
Chapter 27.
Okay. Where is the first one you get for anything to do with longevity, direct words?
No, Duma in 2nd, it says the native will be sickly.
Okay. Please document it. Duma in 2nd. What is the word? Is that correct? Rogi. He's using the word rogi. So we better give importance to that. Okay.
Duma in second.
Okay.
And also, if you take Duma in fourth, it says mentally troubled. Can we also use this or no? Mentally troubled.
Not so much, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because we are talking about the physical aspect. The mental thing is slightly different. So let's skip that.
Now, Duma in sixth, it says will be very strong, conquer his enemies. So that's a plus point, and free from diseases. Duma in sixth.
Yeah. So please note that down. So Duma in sixth will be a plus point for especially very important one. Roga Vivarjitaha, right? Is that the word? I'm reading the Sanskrit part. Sada. Sada means what? Always, right?
Yes, good.
Yeah. So Roga Vivarjitaha is always free from disease. A beautiful point. Yeah. So Duma in sixth house. Very good. Most of these upagrahas are doing well in 3, 6, 10 and 11. Almost like our Rahu and Ketu. Okay. Upachaya sthana. 3, 6, 10 and 11. Then what else? Very nice that you brought up this. Otherwise you could have missed the upagrahas.
Guruji, here, Vyatipata, it says, when Vyatipata is in the ascendant, the native will be troubled by miseries. Can we add that into the conclusion? Miseries.
No, let's not dilute it. No. Prahlad, let's not dilute. Let it be only disease. Or something to do with long life or short life. Okay, search for those words.
Vyatipata in fifth, sir. Imbalance of phlegm and bile and wind.
Also in fourth, it talks about sickly and be devoid of, sickly is one word.
So health problem is there in Vyatipata in fifth house, right?
Also fourth.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Fourth, I'm not seeing it.
No, it says sickly. The native will be a slave to others, sickly, and be devoid of sons and fortunes.
Okay.
And then I think
fifth and sixth, Sai? Vyatipata in fifth and sixth also?
No, sixth is strong, no? Because Upachaya sthana.
Yeah, so sixth should be the positive side.
Yeah, the positive of that, right? Yeah.
I remember Gulika having a lot of bad effects.
Now let's go through this in the order. Okay, so that we don't miss out anything.
You know, Yatipata in the eighth, it says native will have deformed eyes, be ugly, unfortunate.
Troubled by disorders of blood. So surely we'll give importance to that.
Yeah. So
Vyatipata.
Vyatipata in eighth, negative.
Yeah. Then what next? Paridhi?
Did you add that Vyatipata in the sixth is strong, positive? I think you didn't add that. Please add that.
That is because you're saying destroy his enemies and be physically strong, right?
Yeah, physically strong. That's an important word.
Okay. Then after that, it goes to Paridhi. Paridhi is good in most of the places. So I don't think you will find something.
Vyatipata in the 12th, it says be disabled.
That's very important. Correct. Yeah, that's, I think, uses that one word, for the disability. What is that? What is the word? For disabled. Loss of a limb, I think.
No, it doesn't translate that way. Just be disabled.
No, can somebody search for that word? It's that
page number, Guruji?
It's on 246 top portion. I think it is some anga is lost. So Vyango, I think. So what that would mean in maybe Sanskrit, spoken Sanskrit, can we find out? It should be loss of limb, I think. I'm not sure. If loss of limb means very important.
Angahinaha.
Is that Angahina? No, Angahina is something like that, right? But is that the same thing? There is a Vya, there is a Vya sound is there, no? Vyang, and then Anga, Ango.
So please add Vyatipata in the 12th as minus. And
okay, we'll add it as minus. Okay. And then we'll move on. Correct.
Yeah. And Paridhi in the 11th is bad. Problem with digestion.
Okay.
Digestion. Digestive fire. If you are not able to digest, that can cause a lot of problems.
Vyatipata in 12th, it doesn't relate to any health issues, right? Why are we...
Be disabled. The key word is disabled. See, we are just trying to stack up. We are not looking for exact sloka that will say you will die. Instead, we are trying to find out all the negatives that can cause problems like health related. So when we are doing the stack up method, we will add that as a negative.
I beg to differ here, Sai. Disabled may not be pointing towards longevity or lack of it. Maybe Guruji can throw some light on it.
No, just now he said, right? So disabled can mean that, like for example, let's say a bedridden person, a child that is born, that has a severe affliction, born in Rahu, Antardasha or Mahadasha, and it might have these combinations where it is also bedridden and disabled. So this can all stack up.
No. Are we talking about the quality of life or are we talking about the longevity of life?
See, both are in a way connected. I think we should have it for a stacking purpose, since we are just documenting it. Whether we'll use it directly or not, should be a case-to-case basis.
No, Prahlad and Kishore, that point is, when Anga goes away, it is a telltale sign of slowly health deteriorating. You know, usually how they'll do in the allopathy system, first they'll say, remove your gallbladder and remove this, remove that. You know, slowly it will start. So it's a telltale sign. Not that... no, it's not actually disabled. I think it is something to do with Anga.
Okay.
So,
because I thought it's like physically challenged.
No, that was the point you're saying. Okay. Yeah. In that way, a person can go through life without any too much problem in spite of disability. That's what you're saying. We were saying maybe the translation is wrong. It is loss of a limb. Nowadays what's happening when something happens to one of the parents, like for example, kidney problem, I've seen. Like Saturn in the 12th house, the one who has Saturn in the 12th, they offer the kidney. So they'll remove the kidney from this person and give it to the other person. So something is being lost. So in Saturn in the 12th. So Vyatipata in 12th, we will keep that as one of the loss of some organ or a limb. We'll keep it like that. Okay, but this you can eliminate it if you don't want. It's not a direct statement on longevity. It's a telltale sign.
No, see, we are just writing for the sake. Everybody in the final can decide whether they want to have a specific point or ignore the specific point. Okay. I'm just saying, have it in the chat. We will then decide later.
Okay. Sure. No, no problem. But the reason I'm asking is because I think, Prahlad, you brought up deformed eyes, right? Vyatipata in 4th house.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking then why not considering Vyatipata in 4th house?
Okay.
Deformed eye. So that's the reason I got confused. When you're considering disabled, why not deformed eye?
I think we did add that, right? If you scroll up, we have Vyatipata on the 4th as negative.
But I think Guruji said like don't let's not have it because it may dilute what we're looking for.
For the eyesight, okay.
Yatipata in fourth, Santanam book doesn't have the same translation. That's a different one.
What does he say?
If Yatipata is in the fourth, the native will be endowed with relatives, etc., but not sons and fortunes.
Here it says
sickly.
Nothing about sickly or eyes mentioned in Santanam book, sir.
Okay, anyway.
What's the page number in Santanam's book?
240.
Volume 1, right?
Volume 1.
So the sloka comes first and then the explanation comes later, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, looks like I think we should compare both the translations, or maybe the Sanskrit part, and get it right about the fourthos. But anyway, it's not good, at least that we know, right?
Vyatipat in the 12th, right, Guruji?
No, Vyatipata in the fourth. Sickly, the word sickly, does it appear?
Yeah, it appears in Vyatipata on the 4th. And Guruji, when we think Paridi in the 11th, when they talk about disorders and digestive fire, you know, if they are not able to digest the food properly, they'll have bad nutrients. They won't be able to get the proper nutrients, and that can then create a cascade effect.
Before the Paridi in the 8th, it says strong-willed, strong-bodied.
Yeah, Paridi in the 8th is good.
Yeah, that's a plus.
Also, Paridi in 10th also, sir. Strong-bodied.
Correct.
Paridi is Pravesha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chapa is also Indra Chapa. Okay.
Guruji, when Indra Chapa in the Lagna, it says free from all defects. Can that be a positive?
What?
Indra Chapa in the last sentence says free from all defects.
All from defects. Ah, this one we can take. But is that the same as free from? Is that like all defects could be in what? Okay, we'll take it as a positive point.
Affliction, sir.
Yeah, divide of affliction, sir. Okay.
In that case, then Paridi in the 4th will be well endowed, Guruji. I was hesitating to say that because well endowed could mean anything.
Oh yeah, we should add that as positive. Paridi in the 4th. Endowed with everything.
Endowed with everything.
Okay, add it up then.
But how do we know if it's endowed with
health also?
Good health or wealth or?
Man, everything must include health, right? Without health, what could you be endowed with if health is not there?
So Indra Chapa in Lagna is good. Indra Chapa in 3rd is bad. He says divide of some limb. Here Guruji's logic might come.
Some limb. Okay. Here it is, I think, Hinango something, right? Anga and then Hina. Is that correct? The word Hina and then Anga. We'll take that, surely. Chapa in the 3rd.
Chapa in the 3rd is negative.
Yeah.
Chapa in 1st is positive, right?
1st is positive, 3rd is negative.
Chapa in 4th is also positive.
Yes, Guruji, it's Inango.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll take that as a loss of some limb. Usually surgical, removal procedures. Something is removed.
So 3rd is bad. Fourth is very good. Immune from diseases.
Okay. Immune. Correct. We'll take that as a plus point in the stack up. Yeah. But notice that there is nothing about long life, short life, or anything, any statement made here, right? Those words haven't come.
Is it because of the effect being displayed during the Mahadashas of the dispositives, Guruji?
Yeah, I think then we'll have to go back to that idea only, the dispositor idea of wherever these grahas are.
So Upachaya effects would be more seen during the early stages of the Mahadashas, the early age of the Jataka. That time then we can base the longevity factors on this.
Correct.
Then Chapa in 8 is bad. Defective limb.
Defective limb.
Vikalangaha. Correct. Is Vikala
Chapa
the
in
same
11th
thing?
is very good.
No, please document this Vikalanga. That is Chapa in 8th.
So Chapa in 11 is very good. Similarly, free from diseases.
Free from disease, you please note it down.
Chapa
in 11th.
Very good.
Okay. Chapa in 12th. Nothing about health. So then Shiki.
Upaketu.
Yeah, Upaketu or Shiki, right?
Guruji, when they say all desires fulfilled, does it also mean if they have a desire of free from diseases?
Yeah, that's what. Whenever you say all desires fulfilled, it is a major plus point. Okay. So
Then
here, straight away word is Shiki in the 3rd house, severe diseases. Why does he say severe? What is the Sanskrit equivalent of severe? Or is it the work of the translator? Oh yeah, Tivra. That is very high, right? Tivra Rogi. Please note it down. He has used the word Tivra. Very strong. Page number 351, top, first paragraph. Okay. Did you see that?
Yes, Guruji.
Anything else?
Should I use Dwaja or Shiki, Guruji?
I think, Uncle, you should use Upaketu because Upaketu is what we usually see in the software. It says UP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, correct. Then, anything else? No.
This Upaketu in 3rd seems to be one direct assault on the longevity.
Gulika, afflicted with disease is 1st house.
Gulika and Lagna.
In Lagna, that's very important rule. Even Prashna Marga says the same thing. If Gulika is in the 1st house, there will be disease. It's again 3, 6, 10, 11, typical Rahu type. 3, 6, 10, 11. 3, 6, 10, 11, good. Okay, anything else? 2nd, 3rd is good. Gulika on the 4th.
Gulika and 4th.
4th is bile, right? Pitta, Vata Pitta.
Vata Pitta.
Pitta, Diko, meaning more, afflicted by windy and bilious disease. Pitta. So for those of you who have doubt about what is Vata, Pitta and Kapha, please go through some Ayurvedic websites, and it's not so easy, but you can understand by referring to modern disease. 5th house, anything? No.
Short-lived.
Yeah, but don't forget this, though it is not our topic today. Gulika in the 5th is one big rule for atheism. Okay, Nastic, being a Nastic. Then sixth house, nothing. Obviously, 3, 6, 10, 11, that rule. Seventh house.
Guruji, Nastic stands for heterodox, right?
What?
The word Nastic is mentioned here as a heterodox, opposite of orthodox.
Yeah, okay. Maybe denying something, right? Denial of something, but that is regularly accepted. Correct. Yeah, heterodox is also one more meaning.
Gulika and fifth is also short-lived.
Where?
Gulika and fifth, sir.
Oh, yeah, yes, exactly. We missed that word. It is, right?
No, we discussed it, Guruji. Gulika and fifth was a direct assault on longevity, I said.
Okay. Short-lived. Okay. Fifth. I mean, I failed to notice that. Gulika in eighth. Nothing.
Guruji, Gulika in sixth, it's strong-limbed, endowed with brains.
Yeah, this is
strong body.
Yeah.
So that's positive side.
Yeah.
Eight is
Easy way, Gulika in 3, 6, 10, 11, always good. Okay. A rule taken also written in Prashna Marga. So,
Guruji, what is the tail bearer again?
Tail bearer is rumor monging, just going on saying, what happened to this man, that happened. This is called tail bearer in our astrology language. Telling stories to others, which is not true. Spreading rumors. So Gulika in 8th, we finished nothing about health. 9th.
Gulika in 8th says trouble by hunger.
Hunger. Oh, hunger is what? Hunger.
Maybe poor.
Poverty, maybe hint at poverty. But yeah, we can keep that. Maybe we'll keep that pending or write it off, saying hunger alone is a problem. Trouble by hunger. We never know that, because sometimes in certain kinds of disease, you suddenly get hungry in the middle of the night. Okay. Ninth house, emaciated. Emaciated means very thin. Okay. So, extraordinarily thin people, you must have seen. They're very weak. Okay. Gulika in 9th. Gulika in 10th. No, because 3, 6, 10, 11, that rule. So 11th, you don't search. Yeah, 12th house, there is something. Again, Hinango, the problem with the,
limbs,
the body. So surely you should include Gulika in 12th. Then Pranapada.
First one, Lagna is bad.
Lagna, what is the word? Defective limbed. If we get 4 or 5, at this rate, if we get too many defective limbs, it'll be for sure it'll happen. This is the last one, right? So 6th house.
6th house, there is a problem with digestion.
Defective something, right? Sickly has come. Okay, so please take this. Pranapada in 6th house in Rogasthana.
So also in 3rd house, it says injurious.
Is there any word that is directly talking about health? Which translation are you reading? Santanam?
Santanam, sir.
Okay. I think in our, GC Sharma, it is violent. So I think we can skip that. Pranapada and third we'll skip. Sixth house we'll take. Defective and sickly.
Guruji.
And the word short-lived is there, right? But is short-lived part of the Sanskrit word? Yeah, correct. Alpayu Reva. So short-lived is there. So take this one. If Pranapada, PP is in sixth house. PP in seventh, nothing. Eighth, disease.
So what is the meaning of libidinous?
Sexual.
Libidinous.
Sexual.
Okay.
Heightened sexual interest.
Next, do we go to Bhrigu Sutram?
Yeah. No, let's finish this. We will continue later. Pranapada in 8th, anything? Affected by disease. Affected by disease in various organs. So that one word has come. So we'll take that. And 9th house, nothing. 10th house, good.
12th is negative.
11th again. So in this entire set, that defective limb has occurred so many times. So if people have some defective limbs, I think we should go into upagrahas. Correct? Even a eye and be one-eyed and so on. Pranapada in 12th house.
Maybe that pointed towards research, Guruji, in that direction?
Yeah. Let's read the last line. Oh, Brahmin, Brahmin means is referring to the student. Okay. Or the one who knows the Brahman or something like that. I've explained to you the effects of the non-luminous in the above manner, and whatever other luminous planets like Sun, there are like Sun onwards, their effects with regards to the native are to be predicted, considering their positions, their aspects, and their strength and weaknesses. So it's, I think, obvious that these grahas don't have these kind of things, right? They don't have aspects, they don't have strength and weakness other than simply placement in a house. The rest he says, look at the other grahas and find out. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more. You want to continue the same topic next week?
Yes, Guruji. Why not?
Yeah. So we'll continue as much as we can, right? We'll go on with this. If you want to take a break, then we'll change the topic and come back to it after some gap. Okay. Next week, same topic. How many say yes to same topic next week? We will start with Bhrigu Sutram.
Can I say something, Guruji? One suggestion?
Yeah.
Based on the topics, the discussion we had, and also with the books that we have, maybe we need to go explore further individually and prepare some sort of a database or a chart, where we
one of you can prepare a presentation,
okay,
slide by slide, and then we can roughly do it somewhere in maybe before the class starts, a little earlier, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or inside the class we will do it.
More like a pattern recognition.
Yeah, exactly. Surely we'll do that. Okay.
1 second, Guruji. I'm copying all the chat.
Yeah, you copy, no issues, but anyway, it will come on the video. A lot of typing has gone. I think we should be all grateful to Kishore for typing it out so quickly. A lot of content. It's more content this time, right?
He has very good Mercury, I think.
He's a chess player. A chess player must be having Mercury in very good house.
Today, all my classes were postponed. I don't know, some problem, some reason the US, maybe God knows. All my classes got postponed. So usually Saturdays, I'm not available half of the class.
Okay.
But today, since I was available, I was so happy that I said, okay, let me contribute something. But of course, the typings were not mine. The shloka typings were taken from a Word document which I had prepared.
That's okay. Whatever it is, it's made it simple for us, right?
Okay.
Because videos forever, and I mean.
But you'll have a tough time, Guruji, sorting out these statements. There are some.
No. I won't do much. It will just give me the entire copy of the chat, I'll take the chat and paste it using Final Cut Pro. And in Final Cut Pro, there is a option called Star Titler, and that moves like our Star Wars type, So it goes like this. 3D, it goes like this. The letters move like this. I straighten it out and keep it like this and make it go up like this. That's all. So it's so simple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I won't have any trouble. But maybe later on, if you people create a presentation based on some intelligent way of categories. Okay, why not have only for defective limbs one set within the upagrahas, or only for disease? Some categories like that, if you can do. And then the other one, long life, Madhyayush, and so on. And for the next class, I want you to prepare using 2 chapters in BPHS. One is that 8th house judgment, separately 8th house, in which the first sloka is if the 8th lord is in a kendra. But that we said, if the 8th lord is in the first, it is not good. Every other kendra is good. And then slowly he develops it. That chapter is very important. And the other chapter that is important to our topic is, there's a chapter called Maraka Grahas. I don't know which chapter that is.
Yes,
I think it is in volume 2, I think. I'm not sure, is it in volume 2?
Chapter 44, Guruji.
Huh?
Chapter
Volume 144, Guruji.
Oh, volume 1 itself it is there. Yeah, correct. Volume 1 it is there, right? So that chapter you must read before we come to our next class. Okay. So you said 44, right?
46, I think so.
Yeah, but which book? It all depends on Santanam or
GC Sharma 46.
GC Sharma is 46. Huh? Okay.
Santanam is 44.
Okay. Whatever that is. What is it? 40?
46, sir.
My book is torn because of constant referring. Yeah, correct. I got it.
What about 45, sir?
45. Yeah, 45 also. Correct. Okay. If you have enough time, 45.
So we need to do 43 also, Guruji, because it's directly about longevity. Or
no, wait a minute. Are we jumping? We'll go in that order I wanted. Longevity. No. To next class, just prepare these 2 chapters. That the first one, Judgment of 8th house, and 46th chapter, that is titled as Maraka Grahas.
Okay.
What is the chapter number of Judgment of 8th house?
Judgment of 8th house. Where does it come? It comes in the beginning itself. I think chapter number something. 1 minute. Before
chapter
20.
number 21, sir.
Yeah.
Chapter number 20.
No. In GC Sharma, it comes a little earlier than that, I think.
GC Sharma 21, sir.
Chapter 19, effects of the
19 in Santanam, sir.
Oh, is it? In this one is greater than that, 21. In GC, it is 21.
Oh.
Okay, 21. The title is Effects of the 8th House.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
I have it already with me, Guruji. Do you want me to share it for all of us?
Yeah, please.
Just 1 second.
Yeah. The entire text, is it?
Yes, Guruji. But in a summary format. I can't do it. I can't. There's a chat limitation in Zoom.
Yeah. No. Don't do that. There's no need. Let them, let all the students go through the text. Okay. Fine. So we'll catch up.
Yes, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Sir, could
All
we
the best.
discuss that November 2030? November 2030.
Oh.
Yes, Guruji. That's an important thing. If
not now, I'm a little tired today for some reason. I don't know. Okay. So we'll.
Maybe we can do a formal session and then upload it in YouTube, Guruji, between us. Between the group here.
Instead, what about that in the next class?
Yeah, we can also do it.
Okay.
Is that a good bit long enough topic, Guruji? Like to learn?
Maybe we can split half, and then continue with this, the remaining half.
Yeah.
We'll see
Or
how
in
it goes. Yeah.
Satsang too, we can do.
Yeah. Or yeah, something like satsang, I think we can do it, right? Satsang is a better place to do that.
Because it's talking about...
It's a general topic. Yeah, general topic.
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah. And did you send me the text concerning that by WhatsApp?
Which one, Guruji? The effects of ethos?
No, this event you're saying, what is that? Somebody's prediction on in the month of November.
November 2030.
Yeah.
What possible world war?
World war and all that. Whoever stated that, something to read about it, then we can prepare.
Narasimha Rao ji, the
Okay.
Jagannath Hora's.
Is it from 30 and to 32? There's a potential chance because Saturn is going to the sign of Taurus, which means there's a famine. Usually after wars, there will be a famine. And also along with Rahu and Ketu combination. And even if not at 30, then at 31, 32, there might be a chance. Who knows?
Yeah. But usually I'm...
Rohini.
Hesitant.
Rohini
like,
Nakshatra, sir.
Speculative astrology, right? Very mundane, like.
No, basically, I don't personally like this because it will plant ideas in people's mind. You understand? And people will react.
More like the law of attraction.
No, self-fulfilling prophecy it is called, SFP.
Yes.
So then they will try to fulfill it.
Doomsday predictions are the worst predictions.
Yeah, it is like you're giving that topic and everybody's thinking about it, and then slowly the world moves towards it unknowingly. So I generally, keep out of all these things. Somebody invited us to talk on that eclipse, or I think New Year, something I attended. One man showed the end of the world in this year, 2022. And my turn was next after him. I didn't know what to talk because I saw fully only the entire earth being wiped off. This one, that meteor coming towards the earth. And I don't know what to say. I said, don't worry anybody, the meteor is never going to come to the earth at all. It is like, I mean, so this is that portion in 10 Commandments, thou shalt not prophesy. Okay. What is that exact word? I forgot. Thou shalt not prophesy can't be right? Thou shalt not prophesize or something like that. So prophecy is banned. Prophecy means you are acting like God and say this will happen. And that too, prophecies are usually at the world level, at the world scale. So you tend to affect everybody. What Jyotish Kasi said, doomsday predictions. It works on people's mind, but none of the doomsday predictions ever worked. Okay, rarely. Most of the time it won't. And it was one of the ideas used for religious conversion. This is your chance. You have to become this religion. Otherwise, you lost your chance because the world is coming to an end. So they used this from 1960 onward. 62, the world is coming to an end. Then some other time, kept on saying the judgment day is coming and so on. You better convert from, into this religion. Otherwise, everything is gone.
Which even the science said back in 1970s, I think UN or somebody, they said by 2000 there will be water, the ice caps will all melt.
Yeah, these are all speculations. The force of karma will ensure that everything is all right. Somehow it will be all right again and again. We have to go through our karmas, so until we get moksha, we'll all be here only. So to ensure that the earth will be always saved also. Like how it has been saved so many years. Okay, yeah.
Guruji, good night.
Good night.
Good night, Guruji, and thank you.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Good night, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Good night,
Good
sir.
night, sir.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Thank
We'll
you,
count
sir.
down. 3, 2, 1, 0.